this meeting to order. Roll call.
McKnight, Myers.
Here.
Roa.
Here.
Vogel.
Here.
Kinder.
Here. Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Public comment on agenda items.
We have none this evening.
Notice of executive sessions.
None.
Approval of minutes, November 18th, 2025, regular meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Roll call.
Myers.
Aye.
Roa.
Aye.
Vogel.
Aye.
Kinder.
Aye. Communications.
None.
Managers report.
Just one item. So the ABC applications, we received 13 of those. So we have at least one person to interview for each of the open positions. So we'll begin doing that here shortly, right, Darla?
Yep, I'll get that out this week.
Thanks, Marianne.
Sorry, and we did close today on the parking garage, so that is all done on our end.
Do you have a question?
Oh, I just was gonna forward along, because it's not communication, because it doesn't have anything to do with an agenda item, but, I think we had received a offer from a resident to, work on a parking pass program. I wanted to acknowledge that we got that. I think that most of us got that.
We did.
from Jan. And I hadn't yet sent her an acknowledgement.
Okay. I talked to her in person.
Oh, okay. Okay. Looks like you went to your city one for maybe what?
Okay.
November 18th.
Okay. Old business ordinance, first and second reading, quality of life ticketing. Before we have a motion on this, I do have a quick question on this ordinance. Just for clarity, we're giving the ability for us to ticket, right? On these particular items that are quality of life items, right? But I do just want to ask about the enforcement, right? It's section 1725.07 enforcement. It says any violation of the provisions of this article may be cause for a citation, a violation, ticket, and or a notice of violation to be issued to the violator. The part that is that I just wanted to discuss is that should that say after a notice of violation is issued to the violator? Are we giving people a notice before we're ticketing them? Right, like, so I want to make sure that's codified, right? It's not up to Jamie who's giving the ticket, right? It is in here that we're giving so much time between us giving the notice and the ticket. So am I wrong in thinking that, or because it's not written in here, right? Like, what are we? I don't want to weaponize this thing and give people tickets before they even get the violation.
I received the same phone call, and that's my question.
Okay, great.
My understanding was that it's like the same as a parking ticket. It is like, this is the rule that is
Yes.
posted clearly. And I guess that is a
So this
a
would
fair point, but.
be more of a, like a parking ticket. They see a violation, you get a ticket at that violation. I think that this particular provision is saying that after a ticket is given, if it's still not corrected, then it could move to a citation.
Okay, so
So I guess just if I can
Sure.
ask a question, because I'm trying to catch up to where your question was. You're saying you want an opportunity to give
A notice.
a notice prior to the issuance of ticket?
the violation, right? Like, so if my grass is, it's supposed to be, I don't know how long it's
Right,
allowed
sure,
to be,
it's
but it's
too
an
high.
inch over, right? I'm ticketed before I realize that the grass is an inch over, right? So, do you see what I'm saying? Like, it feels like I have to pay before I realize the violation.
Well, you're given a physical ticket, you're giving notice of the violation at the time that the violation occurs.
Right, but I'm also giving, is the ticket a monetary, so the second I get notice, I also have to pay money, right? I'm also obligated to pay $10 or $15 that day when I'm issued the ticket.
35. I think it's, you're asking for like a warning.
Well,
like some
just
sort
a
of-
notice, yeah, I mean, I would like to,
If
not
I'm reading
everybody,
Section B of that correctly,
Mm.
it says any violation may be caused for a citation, a violation ticket, and/or a notice of violation, which to me would be like a warning.
Right.
That's how I'm interpreting it, but I want to make sure that that is,
yeah,
for the record, that that is the intent, that someone's going to, in other words, we can use some discretion, just like with the marijuana ordinance, where we give the police discretion to ticket as a summary versus a criminal. I want to make sure there is some discretionary room.
Or that we have, right, the ordinance would set up the ability to issue a quality of life ticket, but there's like internal practices that can we adopt like something standard where there are particular, are there particular violations where we would want folks to have just the notice first, right?
well, as it is now, if somebody has, if their grass is too high, they get a notice. They get a notice and they have to correct it within 7 days and then they get a citation, right? Like that is,
And the citation takes them to court, right?
right,
So
right.
this is
avoiding court, but, right, like, when you have a parking ticket, you know in fact that for 25 cents you have a half an hour to park, right? You know the parameters of what you have, right? Or what we're assuming is that everyone in this city, renters, landlord, right, like everybody that lives in the city understands the parameters of each ordinance when, you know what I mean? So as we ticket them, right, we're assuming that they are understanding that they're violating. I know that I missed by 10 minutes. I could see it on my watch. I could see it in the, right? But do you see what I'm saying? Like it is something that maybe people don't understand, and giving discretion to people. Like I don't agree with the discretion of the cops not being able to do a misdemeanor or criminal charge, right? Like I think I'm clear on that, right? I don't like the discretion of an individual to choose that. So I'm just asking, is this what we want to do?
So if I can, now that I have a better understanding
Yeah,
what the question
yes,
is,
yes.
and I wanted to find a couple different sections
Sure.
here, just so I could point this out to you. With the quality of life ticketing ordinance, it is the intent for an enforcement officer to first give an opportunity for someone to correct prior to a ticket coming about. There's a reason it's called quality of life. It's to ensure that we are ensuring compliance and not just generating fines. If you take a look, and tell me if you find that I'm wrong in any of the things that I'm saying here. Section 1725.04 says purpose of the ticket. There's two purposes. That number one is as the quality of life ticket is to be utilized as a means to encourage the expedient remedy of certain violations, and to provide for the opportunity for this to go as to a fine instead of going to court. Secondly, under 1725.06, it says upon finding a quality of life violation, the code enforcement officer may issue quality of life violation tickets, which gives that the enforcement officer, that's where the discretion comes in, the ordinance, to be able to work with people to get a violation before we go out and issue a ticket. Once again, it's not the intent of the ordinance, it's not the intent of the city to generate fees via tickets. It is the intent to ensure compliance so that the property maintenance code and those other ordinances are complied with. And it is my understanding that that is how it's going to be enforced. If you are finding as city council that that is not the manner in which it's being enforced, then maybe we can go in and construct a first warning, second warning, or whatever scenario that would need to go into the ordinance. But I know that that's the intent of how it's going to be enforced, and this language gives it that ability to do so.
We can also do that, right, without updating the ordinance itself. We could adopt, right, like
Internal policy.
an internal policy in partnership with the
And-
code enforcement office, as long as like the parameters are set, we're enabled to do.
I think the
Whatever.
concern and the desire of council is clear, so it'd be up to the manager to, put that into place for the code enforcement officer to do
Ask the
that.
manager to do that.
But the ordinance gives all the ability for that to occur.
Yeah, and code enforcement already practices this. I mean, if they issue even a violation or a citation, they work with the renter, the property owner, whomever, to avoid fines and fees. So I don't see a reason why they would discontinue doing that practice.
I think knowing our code enforcement officers, I'm like trust it, like I feel like this is coming to us in like a very good like spirit, like I trust the spirit in which this is coming to us. And like I appreciate like that there could be possibilities for, should it be a different code enforcement, or should
council
the
or city
practice,
manager,
yeah,
right?
should the
Like-
practice kind of change, right, that there might be.
I just don't want the ability to weaponize this, right?
Yeah.
This could be devastating on poor people or older people, right? That don't have the means and need that notice and then that 7 days, right? Like, and I just want to make sure that that is the intent and we are standing by that, right? And it would, to be clear, it would make me more comfortable if we had that in writing, that this is what we are, this is the thing that we're doing. Again, it's not, with the people that we have here are awesome, right? Like, it's just knowing what can happen in time, right? If maybe we have great people and then we forget, right? And in 10 years, it's like weaponized and people are really having a hard time and they can't, right? And then liens are being put on their homes and, you know what I mean? Because we're giving the ability to do that also in this.
But by having this discussion, we are getting it on the record that this is the
The
will.
intent.
and the
Yeah.
intent.
Intent of council. Do we have, like, if people accrue parking fines, is there a mechanism for doing like a payment plan, like to pay them off?
The magistrate's office does put together a payment plan.
So the magistrate's office.
Correct.
So we could
We could do a payment.
kind of replicate something like that, because I'm seeing in here that like failure to make a payment or request a hearing is what, right? And I'm wondering if like the concept, if that terminology of a payment might just mean any payment towards paying off, right? So we can work with people to pay off.
I have an
As long
additional
as they're working.
concern. I brought it up last time.
Okay.
Because the way we define violator, it can include an owner or a resident or some other people. I think the intent is to get the actual violator, not just the easiest one we can reach. In other words, I would not want a situation where we say, well, we'll ticket the owner because he's here and we don't know who the tenant is, even if it was a tenant who threw the trash in the backyard. So I'm not supportive of the execution of the duties of this ordinance if that's what ends up happening, if we end up not going after the real violator.
I think that's a fair comment, and I think that's understood and heard by the city. I will suggest, and I just ran it by the manager here, in section 1725.06, authority for issuance of violation ticket, what if we amended it to say, upon finding a quality of life violation, the code enforcement officer may, comma, after issuance of a reasonable warning, comma, issue the quality of life violation ticket. Would that satisfy your concern?
Yeah. Yes, yeah.
Yes, it would.
Yeah.
I think that's a reasonable language to insert in here and make sure that that goes in for the final reading.
And then when you say reasonable, right, you're saying a reasonable, which is something that we would figure out in-house, what reasonable means.
Well, it's gonna depend on what it is. Cutting your grass, you're not gonna get 3 weeks to do it because it's just gonna continue to
I
grow.
think 7 days anyway.
But whatever, but removal
Yeah.
of a junk car from the
Might take a
yard
little
might
bit.
take a little more time.
Okay,
I think it's situationally dependent.
yeah, that would be a big deal. But-
Are you looking for a motion?
What about any thoughts
Well, I
on
haven't put a motion, I started the conversation before I asked for a motion.
Jim, is there anything that you think we could do to address the responsibility of who's really responsible for the issue? I was just curious. Is there anything?
I think that in, Marion, you could tell me what your thoughts are. From a legal perspective, there are too many variables to try to define who's responsible at that moment. But I think that by requiring that warning, that might come out in the wash, so to speak. That if we show up to the tenant and say, here's a warning with respect to this violation, you have so many days to get it done, and then I'm assuming if they're not the one that's responsible for the problem, that conversation's going to ensue, and we're gonna get to the bottom of who the right bad actor is, so to speak.
And Jim, the difficult part is that we don't keep a tenant registration list we have, yes, the landlords who have rental properties, but we don't require a list of tenants. So all we have to go on is the owner of record for those properties, because we have no way of knowing who lives in those unless the water is in the tenant's name, and we have to do cross-checking, which is possible, but.
Yeah, again, I'm more concerned with the person who's causing the problem. In other words, let's use tall grass. If the tenant is responsible for mowing the lawn by contract, then the tenant is the offender, not the landlord. And if the tenant is required to sweep sidewalks, keep them free of ice and snow, by contract, by rental contract, then he is the offender. And I don't think that it is equitable to charge the owner of the property with something, because the bad behavior is not coming from the owner, it's coming from, in this particular case, the tenant who is not mowing lawn or parks his junk car in the backyard.
And if that scenario were to happen, then the landlord would receive the ticket, call code enforcement, provide proof that it's in their lease that tenant is responsible for lawn care, and then could direct property maintenance to the proper person to issue the ticket.
And that's why I'm suggesting this language saying that the warning, a reasonable warning that would come in, would allow for that conversation to ensue,
Okay.
so we can get to the right person.
I'm also seeing all the, it looks like the modes of delivery are most likely going to end up giving that ticket to the tenant, in most cases. It's like giving it to the person directly, it's posting it on the door, it's like delivering it to an adult in the residence. It's like actually gonna be a lot harder to get some of the tickets to the owners in some cases, right? Like, I think we're looking at a version now that includes if there's no heat, is that right?
That is
on the premises?
That's right.
And like, in the cases where I know that's true, it's that's on the owner, and those owners are not here. And so that would be a tough one to actually.
So the delivery also includes delivery in hand to the violator's local responsible agent, delivery at the violator's office or usual place of business in hand to an agent of said office or business, or mailing a ticket to the violator's address of record. So that there are options if we know.
But if they're registered, then we might.
Which
be
they
able to
should
get
be.
somewhere. Which they should, which that's another ticket if it's not.
Which they should
Oh,
be.
wait, where do we send it? I don't know. Anyway, yeah.
Now, are you ready for
Satisfied.
vote?
Oh, well, I just have-
A motion.
Oh, well,
Yeah,
I'm
so-
not ready, Ms. Rivers.
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
Could you just real quick give an example of like the fines and the penalties and the difference, like go through and say, so like I just like give me an example of, okay, here's your ticket, your penalty, and now you're getting this fine for this, like that. If you could just create a scenario for me to understand the difference and how that would be. So it'd be like an explanation of tickets and the last thing, either 17 to 5.1. Does that make sense? Like, if you could just be like, okay, so.
Walk through how this would
Walk
actually
through,
play out.
just, yeah, so someone who might be watching, and for me.
Jamie doesn't cut her grass.
Yeah, Jamie doesn't cut her
It's
grass.
over 10 inches.
Over 10?
Right,
Gets
so
a notice,
Okay,
so
so
that is reasonable.
you get the notice, you don't cut the grass, you're going to get a ticket. The ticket's gonna be $35. If you do not pay the fine or request a hearing within 15 calendar days, then there's going to be a $15 penalty associated with that. If you do it again within 12 months of the first ticket, then your second ticket is going to be $70. If you do it again for the third time within 12 months, it'll be $140.
Where's the notice part? You said you get a ticket, right? So you get a notice
Yeah.
to remedy the issue within 48
That's-
hours,
that's
or
the-
you get the
That's
ticket?
the warning, that's the line, that's
warning.
before the ticket's even issued.
Okay, got it.
That's before the ticket's even issued,
And
that's the
then, so
language you
this
put
is
in
after the
there.
warning, now it's the ticket, okay,
It's
got
the
it.
warning, then the ticket. Failure to pay has penalties associated with it. You do have the ability to appeal that if you wanted to do so to the Board of Code Appeals. And then, a reasonable period of time to allow that to occur. If not, there's additional penalties that are associated with that. And then failure to make payment or request those hearings would have the opportunity to put a lien for the fine and any penalties.
Thanks.
I'm hoping that we might make it easier to know how to make an appeal to the code appeals.
So it says, under 1725.11, appeal of tickets, a person in receipt of a violation ticket may appeal to the Meadville City Code Appeals Board by filing an appeal request in writing on a form provided, which we will provide, within 15 calendar days of the date of the violation ticket, stating the reasons for the appeal, and accompanied by the appropriate fine amount in full, which will be refunded within 30 calendar days should the alleged violator win the appeal.
Yep, that sounds good. I'm just looking at our code enforcement website and if we could add the
Like a
form,
button in
the
the
form
form,
provided
yeah.
or something there. People know how to do that.
And we'll provide that with the ticket, right, the appeals form, is that what you were saying? Yeah.
Yes, we will provide that on the website. Additionally, on the enforcement period, I do want to make it clear. It says, in addition to the ability to lien the property, under 1725.12, we have any person, business, firm, or corporation who shall fail, neglect, or refuse to comply with any terms of this, which will include the payment of the funds, shall, upon conviction before the magisterial district judge. So if you fail to pay the fines, we can also take you to the magisterial district judge for enforcement and compliance. So that when we run into a situation like Mr. Roa is concerned about, where maybe it's the tenant who is the violator and not the landlord, that we're not liening the property that is owned by the landlord for a violation of the tenant, we'll have the ability to run that through the magisterial district justice.
I would move,
Can I have a motion for the first reading with amendment? Is that what you're
that's
thinking?
exactly, I would move with amendment.
A second?
Discussion? Roll call?
Myers,
Aye.
Roa,
Aye.
Vogel,
Aye.
Kinder.
Aye. Can I have a motion to approve second reading of quality of life ticketing ordinance with amendment?
I'll move.
I'll
Oh.
second.
Very simple.
Discussion? Roll call.
Myers,
Aye.
Roa,
Aye.
Vogel,
Aye.
Kinder.
Aye. All right. New business, discussion, 2026 budget.
So the 2026 budget reflects financial realities that we are facing. Balancing operational costs, our commitment to maintaining services throughout the city, and ongoing infrastructure needs. Does council has received their budget book earlier this week. Do you guys have any questions to start off the discussion? Jim, you're smiling. I don't
I
know if
have
it's good or
40 of
bad.
them, so I'll just meet with you privately.
Okay.
April did a good job of answering
And,
all of them.
and I sent questions. I'm sorry, they got too
No,
split.
and we can discuss them if you'd like. They're fine.
Okay.
Can, I'm just gonna ask, so, it's just, what's our timeline, right? So it's the first week of December. We have one more council meeting before the end of the year where we would have to adopt. Are we have study session next week? Is it about the budget?
Okay.
All right. Okay.
And just so you know, this is balanced in front of you. Thanks.
Thanks for doing it.
Gretchen, do you have questions, Mike?
Yeah, there are just things that really, if there was a difference, it always stands out. So it's on page 26, the earned income tax, why there was that anticipated drop.
So just kind of cleaning up revenues and expenditures throughout, so various questions that I've received. I did not include any previous years in that tax, just to kind of budget that conservatively.
Okay, and then the magistrate, it seems like it just goes up and down, same page, the 125.
So the 125 versus the 97, you were
Yeah.
looking at the 97.
Yeah.
That is what was actually collected in 2025 to date as of 10/31.
Okay,
So that's where you got that 97 amount.
and then the nice high number, the 460,000 for grant.
So in the past couple years, we have discussed, we have the SAFER grant, which is for 4 employees for the fire department. We have the crisis management grant, which is for the police department for Brian. And then we also have the STOP grant, which also helps out one of our detectives. So those are all included in that amount.
And we see, this was helpful, you answered the question for me. We see the expenditures broken up by the departments, so we see how police spend money and how the fire department spends money, but especially in terms of those grants, those revenues are just reflected generally in a big
Right.
lump sum. So
Right.
that was helpful to
Yeah.
me, not being able to see them against each other.
And then the utility tax, the 155 right underneath.
So we are expecting a DEP tax rebate on the solar panels that will come back to the city.
Okay.
That's the direct pay from the IRS, yeah.
Sure.
Can you explain page 36?
The whole thing.
Are you guys?
I mean, we
Comes
started out
after.
with balance at
Okay.
$188, and now it's $11,600.
So
Oh, yeah, there you go.
these
Yeah.
are, this is a special revenue, so this budget, this year's budget, I included the beginning balances. So that is where the variance from 2025 to 2026, 25, I did not include the balance of the fund, and 26 I did.
I was gonna say that was.
Good. So that's,
Yeah.
most of the.
So that's just, that's the budgeted balance of the total.
That's
fund,
what's in the fund already.
Not anticipated revenues in the course of a year.
No.
Okay, is there a way that we could see that separately in the future? We don't need to see it for this budget, but like, here's the fund balance, and here's like anticipated 12-month, why it would actually grow or something, like.
I can
there's
see
no-
if I can break it out in the
That would
book.
be good, yeah. That would be really good.
I'll just reference quickly, insurance. I see it's not assigned on a pro rata basis to each department.
No.
Okay. What was the reasoning? Because that gives us an idea of what it costs to run a department. I'm looking at it from a cost accounting standpoint.
So you're looking at it for the liability insurance.
For all the insurance.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's not broken out in by department whenever we pay for the insurance. It's kind of paid, for liability, inland marine, multi-pearl, that type of thing. So to try to break out what the police liability is or the fire, it's very difficult to do, but all of them are covered under the general fund. So the general fund is paying for the insurance, which police, fire, admin are all under the general fund anyway. So that's where just keeping it as a general government is where I kept it.
Okay. Thank you.
Jumping back to our questions on page 36, does that fiscal year 2026 budgeted for rate stabilization fund, does that reflect what we anticipate the balance of the rate stabilization fund being at the end of the year? Like, is there money left in it, is my question.
I hope so.
Okay, so the big question, like the larger question I had, which I'm now that I'm understanding that that's an anticipated balance, helps to answer. I'm under the impression, right, that this is proposed to us as balanced, but drawing on the rate stabilization fund, which depletes, it does not bottomless.
It depletes based off of, hold on, let me look here.
I guess my question is, how much is left in the rate stabilization fund if we draw what we need to balance the budget this year? I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
So the rate stabilization fund currently has,
What page are you on, April? She's on
It's on 35.
35.
so that is how much we are taking from the rate stabilization fund. So that's what's showing,
265?
yeah, that's what's showing what is in there, because it's under revenue.
Okay, so
That's the beginning, that's the balance of the fund.
okay,
So it's not, the rate stabilization doesn't have that's the fund balance. That's what these numbers are showing you, is the fund balance. Because most of these, because they're special funds, they don't have a ton of activity. It's mostly just interest and anything that pulls from the trusts that they are tied to, like beautification and the de-artment, places like that. So there isn't a lot of activity in these, but that 265 is the balance of the fund. That is what we're gonna pull.
okay. And I don't need to know it tonight, maybe we could talk about it next week, but I guess what I'm hoping to know is then what is left for future years to pull from the rate stabilization fund to help ward against big taxes, right? But that's what we use it for,
Or
right?
where will we pull? How does money get into that fund
Yeah, I guess I'm seeing it like a piggy bank, and we're just gonna take this much this year, right, to help, and maybe I'm just not thinking of it as a fund you draw down on in the same way.
Yeah, without an income, or, because, I deplete my piggy banks quite often, so it's always like, how am I gonna put more money in? Do you know what I mean? And so as you're asking, I'm wondering, how we will put more money in for situations, right?
We don't put money in rate stabilization, do we? Isn't that money from
It
a
was
past
capitalized.
source,
with-
and you've drawn down, and you've earned some interest over the years, but that's not a fund that you...
Say it again, that is,
Okay, you do not put money in the rate stabilization fund.
it's from,
It's from 30 years ago,
okay.
and it was a capital balance, and then over the years, as people have needed it, or as the cities needed it, they have made withdrawals from that fund.
Right, and so that's kind of why my question, like, it's a finite fund, and I think the kind of preface of this budget was like, we can't keep drawing on it, because it's gonna,
Yeah.
we're going to,
It'll disappear.
yes, it will disappear, that money won't exist anymore. So that's what I'm trying, I'm like, how much? How much is left? Is any left? Like, and truly thinking like,
Yeah.
is it wise to pull it all down this year? That's my motivation.
Not at this time, thanks.
Gretchen, you want more?
I don't know if you want to just go through all of these. They're pretty basic, because I didn't even go to the,
I liked your questions.
They're kind of easy, huh? No. The Vernon Police contract.
So the Vernon Police contract was set up to vary as the contract moves. And that is based off of the cost of the police officers and the credits we received for the pension fund. So the amount that we get per year from Vernon is going to vary year to year. In some years it drops, like this year, in some years it's gonna go up. Do I know that ahead of time? Yes, we have a document that we follow.
Good. And then the garage service street, or was that, yeah. Yeah, the 75, again, just that jump.
Gretchen, what page?
The
I have
police
page
overtime?
27. Yeah.
The police overtime?
Yeah, okay, gosh, I'm on the wrong thing. Yeah, it's the police overtime, yeah.
So the police overtime is working with other departments throughout the state,
Yeah.
and we are reimbursed
Yeah.
for their overtime. And they have been putting in a lot of hours.
Okay, great. The fiscal management,
That is for CDBG. So that is a management fee, and within CDBG, there are admin fees that we can draw down within our CDBG funds. This year, because of doing a lot of paving with CDBG funds, we're gonna try to draw down as much as possible from those pots within CDBG for admin fees.
And we think that can get up to 200 million.
That's how much is in there right now.
There's multiple years.
Yeah.
Like, these are kind of prior years.
From like 22, 23, and 24.
Yeah, I was gonna say, that's like most of the allocation. Okay.
and then on page 61, the other,
That is actually the solar project.
Oh,
That
it
has
is,
not
okay.
been paid for yet.
and the transfer out underneath there.
So in 2042, DEP is going to have a balloon payment for their debt payment, and it's going to be over $1 million. So this is to start setting money aside for that payment out of the DEP fund.
Okay. Gosh, that's all I can remember. Thanks, Kate. Thanks.
All right, I just have a couple of more general questions. And I'm working off of page, just page 19. I'm just, where it's being explained that the general fund total expenditures for 2026 increased by 16.72%, to 13.7 million compared to the previous year. And what we're seeing is personnel costs going up significantly, right? Can you tell me why that is? What is different?
So a couple different reasons. The fire and police for the first time, both together at the same time in the past probably solid 5 years, have a full complement at the same time. So 2 full departments. And we also had an increase of 22% of our health insurance.
Okay, and what is it normally increased?
Normally, over the past, since we've been to the ICRA plan, we have been in a 6 to 7% increase. We were told, probably in March, I believe, that we were going to be looking at a 15 to 18% increase.
Which is huge compared to
Which is
6 to 7.
huge,
Okay.
but what was happening is the health insurance plans have not done a significant increase since COVID. So they were expecting that this year was going to be the year, and it was. UPMC and Highmark both put in to the state commissioners their 15 to 18%, but the state awarded them 22% increase.
Wow. Which could not have been foreseen. So what does that look like for next year? Does it, I mean, are we looking at a 6 to 7 again, or are we looking at something that we're not gonna be able to even?
We haven't quite got to next year yet, since the state is running back into full swing right now, but should not be that significant. And eventually too, right now we're running with UPMC, eventually that's gonna flip and Highmark is gonna, drop their rates, and then we'll switch to Highmark.
Okay.
That's the game, yeah.
The other increase, right, is utilities, and is that's something that just,
It is, I mean, between electric, electric fuel, gas, all of those go up. We work with Gary Svets to really try to hold what we're paying, but inevitably they do go up
and that's a 44.55.
altogether.
Okay.
We should generate our own electricity on all our city real estate.
Like Grove City.
I mean, if we could do that, we would, right? But I don't think we're allowed to do that anymore. Yeah, we're gonna. So then, on the flip side, right? So what I'm seeing is that right, their materials and supplies are going down, right? They've been decreased. Can you tell me if that's just a reflection on intentional management efforts, right, to bring down costs because of?
I would say yes. I sat with every director of every department, line by line. We looked at costs of what was in those line items for the past 2 years, and what can be fixed, reallocated, or null and void, those types of things. So we did do like a full audit on each department on their materials, supplies, their contracted services, and general management.
Okay. And you were able to come in below what and I know I had one more question. So I'm just looking at, again, this is just a general question on page 21. I'm a visual learner, right? So I'm looking at 2024 and then 2026, right? What it's showing us is that what we budgeted and actually used in 2024 is different, right? Mm-hmm. And so in my wildest dreams and hopes, right, we are budgeting, right, in a way that we will have, hopefully it'll be lower, right, than it was as it's shown in 2024, right? Mm-hmm. We budgeted high and we didn't need to use all of that, and it's a possibility that we're budgeting high and we may not need to, right, use all of that, so it may not be as bad as we're thinking, but, right, although we are, we are balanced, right? We want to make sure that we are spending in the most thoughtful way. So I just wanted to point that out, right? That's what I'm seeing in this, and make sure that I'm seeing the correct thing, right?
Yep.
Okay. Those are all the questions I have.
I know some of the things that we've done to balance was the adjustment to what we're budgeting for part-time firefighters. They had a union meeting last night. Have we heard anything since the department?
I talked to the union president about that, because it actually was a complaint, an issue or concern brought up by the union too, of we want part-timers to be used to fill overtimes, because they too get a little frustrated by folks being there and not really, being needed at the time. When you have 8 of them in the station, it just is too many. So the strategy is they will be used to fill overtimes, and that is the sole reason for the part-timers. And the union was fine with
Amenable
it.
to
Yep.
the change.
All right.
We've also had, in the past, we've had presentations from different department heads. We do not have time for that. And I think, I feel like we have, throughout the, I think I had wanted for a long time was to have a better handle throughout the year of what departments are doing, because I felt like we had this, I don't know, that was the only time when we were talking with department heads to understand what their department did, and so now I feel like we don't need that to happen in budget season, so that is good. Still miss seeing the faces during budget season. And in particular, we usually have the MARC come, and it feels like an important year for them to come.
Are you asking them, I mean, we've got a.
I don't know, we have a week, like, we're meeting one time. I honestly don't know what I'm asking.
I did
because-
talk to the MARC board at their meeting last Friday, about this. There was no outward upsetness. I did tell them that, we will reevaluate the budget, our budget, their budget, come June, of next year, after the winter season, to see where everybody is at. And of course, if something happens and comes up between January and June, obviously reach out, and we can see. And they seemed amenable. Gretchen, you attended some of that meeting. They seemed amenable to that scenario.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is that we're not budgeting for as high a contribution to the rec complex this year, which sounds like in keeping with what some of the other municipalities are.
Yep, Vernon Township has already passed the 10% decrease to funding of the MARC. We do many in-kind things with them. We do have the committed to $24,000 in their conditions assessment. If they are awarded the grant, the MARF and the city agreed to pay that on behalf of the MARC. So we are committed to $24,000 out of general fund monies to that assessment.
Do you have a grant writer for the MARF?
The MARF,
Or the MARF?
we pay for Jason.
That's what that's
Yeah,
all I was
we
gonna
pay for
say.
Jason
We
to,
do that with other authorities.
Yeah.
Wanted to mention, right, the great paving, that beautiful paving job we did.
Paving.
That was nice. That's a beautiful, it was.
Actually, the
it's a
parking
good
lot is
parking lot.
really, it's
It
so
looks
much
really
better
great.
now.
Yeah, so,
Yeah.
right, okay. All right, resolution ratify submission, city 2025 local share account grant through CFA. Can I have a motion to ratify submission?
So moved.
Second?
Discussion?
so this is a submission that was due at the end of November 30th, for the Commonwealth Financing Agency's local share account grant. We apply every year to this grant for something in one form or another. This year, on behalf of the city, we applied for camera equipment at Heidi Cooper, the city building, in Diamond Park, and the sewer authority to upgrade our camera systems. So that total is $103,790. There is no local match for an LSA.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions?
Are the LSAs competitive?
They are, we have reached out, I just saw an email today come through where we requested a letter of support from Senator Brooks. She also sits on the CFA board, but yes, they are.
And so they'd also be competitive across
each other.
That's correct.
Thank you, we're thinking about how we prioritize.
Voice
Who we're
amplification
submitting for.
system.
Hmm?
You have a voice amplification
Oh,
system.
yes, and that's in there too.
How about the front door?
Yes.
It is done, okay.
All right. Roll call.
A resolution of the Council of the City of Meadville ratifying the submission of the request to the Commonwealth Financing Agency for the local share account grant. Myers,
Aye.
Roa,
Aye.
Vogel,
Aye.
Kinder.
Aye. Resolution ratify submission MCT 2025 local share account grant through CFA. Can I have a motion to ratify?
So moved.
Second?
Discussion?
So this is another application to LSA. This one is on behalf of the Meadville Community Theater for purchase of new curtains, staging, and sound quality equipment for the theater itself in the amount of $145,390.
How does an outside entity come to
Yeah, so-
know that they could partner with the city to submit an LSA?
Usually it comes up in conversation. For example, the next resolution is the library. In a discussion, we always offer if you have something that you want to try to apply for, the city will take a look at it, run it past the grant writer, see if it's a feasible project. And that's usually how they come about, because the city is only an entity that's able to apply for these nonprofits really can't.
If, Autumn said just a second ago how to prioritize these, right? Is there, and I don't know, is there the ability, right, we've got 3 here? Is there the ability to do a larger one, or is it always just like Meadville and the library, Meadville, right? Could we have, right, like done one that kind of prioritized all 3 of these places and thrown them out, or even more?
So LSA is,
Like an omnibus?
Yeah.
so LSA is really political as well. And so, yes, you can apply for, I think it's up to $1 million for LSA. But because it's so political and the representatives like to disperse as much funding as they possibly can, the sweet spot for LSA to award a grant to an entity is about $150,000.
I mean, and maybe I think about politics a little bit differently, but wouldn't it be more, do you know what I mean, like, more bipartisan, right? Like, to get everybody together, we've organized, we got together and we applied for a thing, or do you think it's just not feasible? Do you know what I mean, to me, that's what seems like, look, we're all working together, right? Like, in this city, you guys wanna, I mean, you tell me. Eye in the sky?
I think, based on past experience, when trying to go a route like that, we have been unsuccessful.
Okay.
If that answers your question.
I mean, I'm asking, I'm just wondering.
So is this kind of the sweet spot, around $100,000?
Yeah, about 150 is the sweet spot for LSA. We had applied for, what was it, 400,000 for Heidi Cooper, I think, in an LSA when we were doing the renovations. We got 50,000.
I was gonna, that was my next question.
Yeah.
So they will give lower amounts
Yes.
to this, right? Like, we apply for this much and they could get, okay.
Yep.
All right.
Would this be an example of no one's life or property is safe when the legislature is in session?
That's your words, Joe.
Okay, roll call.
A resolution of the Council of the City of Meadville ratifying the submission of a request to the Commonwealth Financing Agency for the local share account grant. Myers,
Aye.
Roa,
Aye.
Vogel, Kinder.
Aye. Resolution, ratify submissions, Meadville Public Library 2025 local share account grant through CFA. Can I have a motion to ratify?
So moved.
I'll second.
Discussion.
This one, as we talked about a little bit, is for the Meadville Public Library. This is for renovations of the restrooms at the public library. This one's a little bit higher, $250,000. I think this is part of a staged renovation project that the library has planned.
Anybody have any questions?
No questions. Glad to support the library. I don't want this to come off as I don't want to support the library. But I do think that if we're putting forward 3 projects in a competitive program, like maybe there's an opportunity to be thoughtful about it. And I'm looking at the Crawford County Planning Office's project idea portal as, right, I know that they had been using that as a way to take ideas from outside the community, kind of filter them and match them with grant, grant opportunities that might work for them. Replicating it would probably be another thing for us to take on, that would be a lot, but like, I wonder if we could just talk to the interim director and see, can we send people to this? And then that way it would kind of be like a little bit of a filter, we could send people in that direction and have an open relationship with the county, so we can send people there, and the county can send them in something that's maybe a little streamlined or something, I don't know. I also don't know how it's feeling on staff, like maybe it feels fine and manageable and it's okay.
Jason handles the staff is okay.
Yeah.
Who is an asset.
Yes.
Right?
Who's an asset, but as a contractor that we pay for all of his time, so, right, if we could be thoughtful and say, we really just want you to, these are the priority ones, and we're not gonna pay you to look at all of them, because that probably gets expensive, I don't know, but,
Yeah.
and
This is a sidebar, but would the Market House or the Mark be eligible for something like this, like through the Mark or the Friends? Or could it be through the?
It would have to be through the city, but we could apply on behalf of.
Okay.
Alright, roll call.
A resolution of the Council of the City of Meadville ratifying the submission of a request to the Commonwealth Financing Agency for the local share account grant. Myers,
Aye.
Roa,
Aye.
Vogel,
Aye.
Kinder.
Aye. Public comment on non-agenda items?
We have none tonight.
Right on, council member statements.
I was,
Oh,
I was
wait.
gonna say.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't have you signed in, my apologies.
Okay.
That's okay.
We
come on up.
talked, I didn't get her signed in, so.
Well, my name's Christine Parker, and I co-own Highland Bed and Breakfast. And I was wondering if the next meeting, Kelly Jamison, that owns Davenport's Cidery and Winery, we are hoping to have an on-site winery at our bed and breakfast with them. Just 4 to 8:30 during the evenings. A lot of our guests would like a glass of wine or something. And also our house is very historical. We've done a lot to it. We would love the community to be able to come in and enjoy it as well. So if we could speak to you on the 16th, we would love to have that opportunity.
Absolutely. Sounds great.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming. I think I read in the paper there was a code appeals board hearing.
We went to the zoning board.
Zoning-
yes.
zoning
It was-
hearing board.
It was
Right,
denied.
'cause it
but we
wasn't
did
code.
And they suggested I come to you.
Okay.
They did
And-
say that we should come to you. But also, they didn't tell us why, but we are not residential. We are, I believe it's M1, and then Henry Street as well is not there, I believe M2. So we are not in the residential. So we're just hoping that it's something that we could collaborate together and would be wonderful, tourism. We would love to see that there.
Yeah, is that the process? Yeah.
So it would require a change in the zoning ordinance
Okay.
to allow.
So it's not an appeal of an appeal?
Because- Correct,
Or-
because the appeal has been denied,
Okay.
because the petition has been denied. The next steps would either be to come to council and ask for a zoning change, or go to the Court of Common Pleas to appeal the decision.
Can I just back up a second? What is the ask? Like, for the permission to do pop-ups,
No, it's a
partner?
Partner with Davenport.
Yes,
It's a permanent one.
yes, and just
Location,
offer
the
their
satellite location
wine.
for
Oh.
Davenport.
As
Yes.
a, okay, as a
Right.
permanent location, okay, so that, I wasn't getting that, as, I
Right.
was thinking like a pop-up and a
Right.
use of the, you know what I mean?
The
They get so many
LCD is
times a year.
already, it's already been approved by them.
It's just a
Or it
zoning,
can be.
I
there was
see.
a
Okay.
zoning hearing board meeting.
Right.
Thank you for, because it wasn't making sense to me,
Right.
that's why
I understand.
so, thank you, I appreciate that. So yes, we'll see you on the 16th, you said?
Thank you.
Thanks. Council member statements, Jim?
Thank you. Holidays are upon us. Hope everybody has a great holiday. Those of you who are hunters, happy hunting. And the dark days are here, short days. Please be careful with kids out, especially around the holidays. We don't want to have any unfortunate mishaps.
Thanks, Jim.
Thanks.
Richard?
Asha's right to Mary Meadville's this Friday. Friday, what time is it? 6 to?
Five with the-
5 to 8. 5 to
the
8.
lighting
Go out and
happens
enjoy
at
the
6.
see Mary in Meadville. That would be my statement for the night. Thanks.
Yeah, second that, Mary Meadville, such a fun night, it's like a magical night
It
in
is.
town, that is not magic and is actually made possible by lots of hard work, especially by the downtown business owners and the Meadville Business Alliance and city staff, so thanks to the folks who are doing all of the behind the scenes work. The chamber too, I think, brings in Santa, so thanks to all the folks who do the work behind the scenes to make it feel so magical and easy, and what a fun night to be downtown. Yeah, there were a lot of people in town. I thought on Small Business Saturday, which was a lot of fun. That was a nice day. It's fun to see. Encourage people to shop locally this holiday season. You can buy downtown dollars, I think, at the city building and other places. You know, I think that it's like a hard time for lots of folks, and our small business owners are not exempt from that. Yeah, I've got a lot of respect for the folks who are giving so much to our community by keeping their doors open all the time and have so much pressure on themselves. So, you know, this is the season to buy locally, get local gifts, and make it a little bit worth their while as the kind of thanks to the service they do for, I don't know, to have a vibrant community, a vibrant downtown. We're lucky for that. The other, thanks for balancing the budget. I thank you for your work on doing this. I think what was, in reading it frantically yesterday, I think for me, I was really feeling the pressure of this won't be able to happen every year in the coming years, and I think that Marianne, you talked about like in your forward letter, like the budget is an opportunity for like this is a place where we all come together and we figure this out and we kind of work towards a solution, and I think that, you know, again, we're able to kind of like maybe stave off some. It looks like right at this point, early in our conversations, we'll stave off some big tax increases or potentially any tax increase, but that won't last forever. And I'm really hopeful that we can maybe start next year early, like actually bringing more people into the process and exploring what we can do to bring in new revenue for the city, to figure out. How we make this beautiful ship continue to float and sail. Yeah, so hoping we can look at, budget advisory council, right? Like thinking about ways that we can bring people into the process early, is what's been on my mind. Putting that out there, and I look forward to digging in on next week. Thanks.
Right on. Thank you, Autumn. Yeah, I'm excited for Friday. It's my favorite time. Meadville, it just shines. We're like a hallmark city, as I've been told over and over and over again, right? And that's just not in looks, right? Because Meadville's a place where we care about each other. And I read a quote, and it said, as you said, right, like that it's going to be really hard for a little bit for a lot of people, and it said when you feed your neighbors, you nourish your city, right? And I thought that was beautiful because Meadville is full of people who care about their neighbors. And I'm just hoping and encouraging people to just do that, right? Connect, feed your neighbor, spend time, give what you can. If all you can give is time and energy, then just give that, because that's almost more important. But in the place that I love so much, I think it just, we prove time and time again that we love each other, that we care about each other, and this is the time that we shine the most. So it makes me very happy, and I'm excited for this season. Yeah. So with that, I'm going to ask for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
A second.
Discussion? Roll call.
Myers,
Aye.
Roa,
Aye.
Vogel,
Aye.
Kinder.
Aye.
We're done.